Good morning. And how are we this fine, this stock footage morning? You ready to go on a road trip? I sure am. So let's go. What? Oh, I'll explain what I'm up to today once we get started. Okay, we're in the car and need to check things, make sure everything's okay, and then we can get going, okay? Now, first of all, we see that we have 95% charge. Notice 95, not 100. If you have 100% charge, you've got no place in the battery to store any of your regenerated braking energy. So you keep it a little lower and you can save all that energy. Okay, then the vehicle status. And since we haven't gone any place yet, we find there is no efficiency, no energy used or nothing like that. But that will change as we go along. Car defaults to 3.5 every time you start it up, and it adjusts as you go. Need the trip. Okay. Take the trip 2, and we're going to reset trip 2. Okay, which also resets it over here, of course. So that's everything we need. What else did I need? Oh, yes, something very important. We need a weather report. It's fair and 52 degrees. It feels like 52 degrees. The wind is 3 miles per hour from the northeast. So it's almost negligible, but what little effect it will have will be as a tailwind and help us. Oh yes, and then we've got to hit the map. And it's already, okay, I've already programmed in the first stop, so we should be good to go. And we're off. It'll take a minute to get out of the neighborhood here. Okay, now that we are, for all intents and purposes, out of town, I can explain what's going on. I've billed this trip as unnecessary, and it is. Now, there's a difference between need and want. A difference very few people seem to grasp. There are a few places I want to visit. And since I don't have a personal helicopter, a car is the best way to get there, even though I don't want to spend all day driving. The foremost of those places is the new Buc-ee's near Dayton, Ohio. Depending on your definition, this is the first Buc-ee's in the northern part of the country. I was going to say the first above the Mason-Dixon line, but the line doesn't extend through Ohio. But if it did, this Buc-ee's would be about 9 miles north of it. I know somebody's going to say that there's one in Colorado. Well, yeah, and it would be about 42 miles above the Mason-Dixon line, if such a thing existed out there. But as far as I'm concerned, Colorado is the West, not the North. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Then there are 2 Ionna rechargeries on the route. One of the earlier ones in Springfield, actually 20 miles past Buc-ee's, but that's close enough. And a much newer one in Lima. Now, in Peru, it's Lima. In Ohio, it's Lima. Like the beans. And not too far from Lima is a little town called Cridersville, wherein resides a Casey's General Store, which is sort of a Buc-ee's light. Again, it pretends to be a gas station, but serves up what is reportedly one of the best pizzas around. And lastly is our first stop, the EVgo in the charmingly named Beaver Dam, Ohio. Not really necessary, but I want to try out plug-in charge. Never had the opportunity and probably never will again. Now, these are all places that here in Michigan are either non-existent, sparse, or greatly inconvenient. This trip just gives me a chance to hit them all. I think this is because Michigan really isn't what you would call a road trip state. You can start here and go somewhere else, or you can start somewhere else and come here, and you can travel around within the state, but not over a very great distance. So even though there are hundreds of great places to visit, it's a cul-de-sac. You don't pass through it on the way from one place to another. So now you know just about everything I know, about the trip anyway. As for the rest, we'll just learn as we go. All right, we'll get going up to speed on this is a US 23. We'll join in on I-75 south of Toledo. So just enjoy the scenery on and off. Obviously, not going to bore you with the whole trip. Just a few minutes here and there. Right now, I just need to get the cruise control settled. There, that ought to do it. Okay, here we go. Adaptive cruise control, 72 miles an hour, which takes a lot of stress out of the driving. I'm not a fan of self-driving, no matter how good it gets. I have white knuckles just riding with somebody else driving. If somebody else was a robot, I'd be a basket case. But I do find the adaptive cruise control alone takes half the stress out. As you see, this is very highly traveled by 18-wheelers, which really kills the speed you can go. Slowing down, of course, does increase the range. So which is more important to you? Getting there 5 minutes earlier or saving a couple of bucks on charging? Ah yes, springtime in Michigan and the annual blooming of the state tree, the orange traffic barrel. I don't normally travel a whole lot, but when I do, I like to check after about 25 miles, give or take, just to see how the car's efficiency has changed from the initial 3.5 and give me more of an idea what I can expect for the rest of the trip. I was going to pull off here, but it seems... oh, there's the exit. This will let me get up there, stop someplace, take a picture of the screen, and then come back. Off to the side for a minute. Sorry for the reflection, but when you travel early in the morning on a sunny day... Okay, we can see, strangely enough, that after 27 miles of freeway driving, it's actually gone up to 3.8. A lot of that's being stuck behind the semis going 60, so that helps a lot. And then back to the freeway. Why does he speed up just as I go to pass him? Always happens. 67 back there. Now I gotta get up to 78 to pass. Well, crossed into Ohio, and the speed limit has dropped. I can't get out of this lane, so I can't drop. Should mention that Ohio has the same state tree. This is a rough time of year. Of course, they always block off twice as much roadway as what's actually being worked on. This is certainly going to help my efficiency if 55 is the limit of what I can do. We're pretty close up here now. We'll be splitting off. You know, you've got all these people passing on the right. They just never give you a chance to get out of their way. Ohio's law is a little different than Michigan's. In Michigan, it's any emergency vehicle with its lights flashing. Well, like here. But the Ohio law is actually any vehicle with emergency lights flashing. You know, it includes your four-way blinkers when you're changing a tire. People are supposed to get out of that lane. If you've noticed signs for the airport, Toledo's airport is named after Eugene Kranz, who was the flight control director on the Apollo 13 mission. He was born here. It was admirably played by Ed Harris in the movie. One would think Toledo isn't really that big of a city to generate this kind of traffic. Oh, no, you don't. You stay in the right lane. Trucks stay in the right lane. Okay, now we got a pretty straight shot down to Beaver Dam. The sights are going to be all pretty much the same from here on, so might as well save some battery for the camera. Okay, we seem to be approaching Findlay. Just in case anybody's never been here, I'll give you some idea of what it looks like from I-75. So far, I'd say Findlay looks just like every other mid-sized city in Ohio and Michigan. We gotta be coming up on Beaver Dam pretty darn soon. It says here we're going to arrive there at 62%. But I'm only here to test the plug-in charge. Otherwise, I wouldn't even think of charging at that high of a state of charge. The battery temperature is 73 degrees, so that's good. It's getting warm as it gets later in the day and we're heading south, so the temperature has increased slightly. We're up to 73 at the moment. Strangely enough, the same temperature the battery is. So we're doing good. This is supposed to be it, right? Well, let's see if we can find... I don't like the looks of this. There are no chargers here. Calm down. Check plug share. Yeah, there's a pin right there. Across the street. What the heck? Believe it or not, there's 2 stations across the street from each other. One Pilot and one Flying J. One's got chargers, one doesn't. Okay? Okay. I was scared for a minute. Now, if you want this to make sense, you'll need to look up the company's history. It's fascinating. You got bankruptcy, mergers, DOJ ordered divestitures, joint ventures, buyouts, spin-offs, NASCAR, philanthropy, politics, and professional sports teams. Wow. Oh, and look it up on Wikipedia, not the company's website. They don't provide much information. You'll also need to look up founder Jim Haslam. I was under the impression that at the time of the merger, they were all rebranded with the dual name. Looks like these two didn't get the memo. Okay, vehicle status, energy. Oh, you want a photo? Believe it or not, we are at 3.7 miles per kilowatt. That's fantastic. Likely due to all the construction and slow trucks. Anyway, the reason I stopped here was to see how well the plug-in charge worked. It was flawless. Plug it in, it charges. We got a nice charge back up to 80%, so I'm set for the next leg of our journey to Buc-ee's. No video. As usual, manhandling the cable and connecting it to the car took 2 hands, and once plugged in, it started charging so fast I didn't have time to pick up my phone and walk around to the front of the charger. Nothing to see here. Move along. Back on the road again. But as I started up again, the Better Route Planner app disappeared entirely from my screen. The system still said it was there, but was not on the infotainment screen. Well, it's okay. Fortunately, I know where I'm going. It's just nice to have that available. Uninstall, reinstall, and it's back. Still need some futzing with to reload the route and run the actual plan. But after a few minutes, everything seems back to normal. Uniapolis. Well, that's a good one. I think that means one city. Apolis means city in Greek, and uni is one, so that's one city. More central Ohio farmland to watch go by. My efficiency has dropped just a touch because of running the air conditioner. Wapakoneta, home of Neil Armstrong. The white dome on the right is the Armstrong Air and Space Museum. We're not even up to 70, so I don't know what's slowing this guy down. We're just kind of cruising along I-75 now, behind that blankety-blank truck again. Can't that thing go any faster than 65? Road work ahead. Hey, how about that? It's a surprise for you. Well, it's getting a little cloudy out here. We've got to be getting to I-70 pretty soon. , 12 miles. I-70 coming up. It's time to start paying attention. This is where I blew it. The road signs, the route planner map, and the route planner voice were just slightly out of sync. By the time my feeble, and by this time quite tired, brain could process it all, I missed the turn. So I'm going to just jump ahead to properly getting on I-70 after a brief detour. Now, here's what that interchange looks like. You can maybe see how I got confused. It reminds me of a Celtic knot. How far is it to 235? I guess they haven't had a chance yet to erect the huge billboards that every other Buc-ee's has. There are at least 100 videos about this Buc-ee's, and a couple of hundred more about Buc-ee's in general, so there's no need for me to do much. I looked around a bit, grabbed some beaver nuggets, beaver chips, candied pecans, a chopped brisket sandwich, and a drink. Then headed up the road to Ionna to eat while charging. Just to give you an idea of how large the parking lot is. A jump cut because I missed a turn again. You'd think I'd learn. So I'm where I should have been 10 minutes ago. Almost did it again. Around the loop and off to Springfield. Boy, that was quick. We have reached the halfway turnaround point. The return trip should be much easier. I'm going to eat lunch while charging, as a rebuke to those anti-EV people who keep complaining it takes too long to charge. I'm eating lunch. I would be eating lunch at this time anyway, regardless of what fuel powers the car, be it electricity, gasoline, diesel, kerosene, or rubber bands. Therefore, it is taking no time at all to charge. And as far as lunch goes, that chopped brisket sandwich alone was almost worth the trip. It's excellent. The beaver chips were far less satisfactory, overcooked almost to the point of being burnt. I haven't tried the pecans yet, and the nuggets are fairly good, but the brown sugar glaze takes some getting used to. After this is all taken care of, we'll start on our way back. Again, there's hundreds of videos covering charging at Ionna. We don't need another one. The only thing I'd like to mention is that I found out after I got home that GM has plug-in charge at Ionna. I wish they could have told me that. I could have saved a half hour and maybe $5 or $6. Okay, leaving the Ionna in Springfield, heading back through Dayton, up to Lima, to the Ionna up there. Now, actually, since we, for all intents and purposes, have already seen all of the scenery in that part of the state, I think I'm going to just turn the camera off until we get up to the Lima area. And because of the time of day, I think I'm going to skip the Casey's Pizza in Cridersville and just go straight to Lima, if that's okay with you. And even if it isn't, what can you do about it? I forgot to turn the camera on when I first pulled in, so I went around and came back again to show you what the Lima Ionna station looks like. At the new Wawa, right here, a couple hundred feet off of I-75 on Breese Road. And like all Ionna, all over the place, plug it in, tap your card, it starts charging. No cockamamie apps to futz around with. Simple as can be. Okay, it says 75 north, straight ahead. And that would probably be this direction. And again, deadheading to Toledo unless something earth-shattering happens. See you there. Well, we're just coming up on the southern fringe of Toledo, and the day is really starting to drag on. I've still got 60 miles to go. And once again, there's no sense in running this for scenery you've already seen. Just a little bit more of Toledo. And it's just getting the rush hour here, so I hope I can make it through without delay. Okay, we should be pretty well done now. We'll just see you when we get home. Well, that was quite the experience. So, what have we learned? One, this is too much for one person to do with only rudimentary equipment and limited time. Either you need a second camera to do the establishing shots and inserts, or about 50% more time. Or, best of all, an assistant to do all those little bits. I had none of this, and the video suffers from it. Secondly, Buc-ee's isn't a gas station. It's a tourist trap with a huge gift shop that just happens to sell gas and food. Doesn't serve much more purpose than that. I've been there, fine, I don't have to go again. Plus, 200 miles is much too far to go for lunch. I would like to see a bank of the Mercedes fast chargers, like their other stores do, just on general principles. They're not really needed at present. There's Ionna in 20 miles in one direction and Electrify America 10 miles in the other direction. There aren't enough EVs on the road to make another charger so close viable. And the U.S. is not going to see the large-scale acceptance of EVs that other countries enjoy until Ford and GM step into the 21st century. We need more moderately priced cars, not Lucids and BMWs and the like. Heck, even Rivian's coming out with a truck starting below 50 grand. You want some interesting numbers? In 2024, EV sales in Norway were 97% of all car sales. Sweden had 58%, Denmark 56%, and Finland 50%. So much for EVs not working in the cold. Rounding out the top 5 are the Netherlands and China, tied at 48%. In the US, a measly 10%. And even the EU is around 25%. Sorry for the digression, but I'm really bummed at seeing the U.S. at the bottom. Third, Ionna is great. Yes, more of the stations need to get canopies installed, but they're promised that they're coming. You can't just wave a magic wand. There's a lot of work to be done, including building permits, which are never easy. And they need to think about a few rechargeries in Michigan. Please. Well, that's all I have for now. Maybe someday I'll have a reason to take another trip so I can use what I've learned here. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you down the road.